Unfortunately, the horrors do not stop there. I got another thing to cover real quick, and apparently according to Dice Mistress, this is Suris's cousin Frankie from Bangor, Maine. Is that just a gray? I guess it's just a gray. Huh. Anyway, thank you for your fan art submission. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. That all said, let's go ahead and talk about what else we've got going on. So we talked about United Healthcare and what's going on with BlackRock. That's corporate interests gone completely awry. That's problematic already, but Google may be doing a little bit more on top of that. And let's take a look at what that is. Google DeepMind CEO warns that AI will disrupt jobs in 5 years and urges teams to prepare now. Also, Jassa, thank you for the hydrate. I appreciate it. And Jet, it just says you just now rated according to Stream Elements. I'm glad that it caught up. Glad it caught up. Fourth Pendulum System says, imagine if we just Beyblade outside their offices to make noise and have fun at the same time. Oh, we could also set up tables and play Commander, like, really, really fucking loudly. I'm talking slamming down a Llanowar elf on the table like a goddamn Yu-Gi-Oh! Protagonist. Anyways, as the world dashes into an AI-driven future... It's not fucking AI, it's just a large language model. There's a difference. AI is a system that has intelligence, and we can argue has a measure of sapience. Large language models are, well, it's Cleverbot. It's just Cleverbot. It's just really dressed up Cleverbot. Which means it isn't a thing that understands your question. It is a thing that gives you a facsimile of a response, and therefore, because it approximates as close to a human response as you can venture, our pattern-recognizing brains thinks that there's actually an intelligence there, and old goddamn boomers will keep calling it AI even if we correct them 1 billion times. We don't actually have AI here, because we don't have anything with the ability to have a complex neural network right now that can not only respond to stimuli, which is closer to what a P-zombie is. A P-zombie is literally just a thing that responds to stimuli. And we cannot tell the difference between it and something that is really alive, because that is just how a P-zombie is built. A P-zombie is not a person, but is indistinguishable from a person, because your pattern-recognizing brain sees it as a person. Dan says, Gen X here, most of it also call it AI. I know everybody calls it AI. They're all goddamn wrong. Old Gus says, I'd also say AI is less the end of the world and more a signal of the idiocy killing us and our economy. The trifecta of automation, atomization, and dumbing down. Yes. Sergio Garita says, I usually call it machine learning. I mean, it is machine learning. It is. But the concept of us going into an AI-driven future, it drives me insane to think about, because it's... I'm going to show you guys something. This is a conversation that was had in my artist Discord. I was thinking about making a video about Dina Soulsteeper, who's one of my favorite commanders, who I haven't played in a while, and I was fucking around with ChatGPT. Because I'll use that to generate things like tags for videos, because when it comes to things like search engine optimization, it isn't half bad at that particular job. And I'm going to be honest, more and more often, not using AI for stuff like that, not using large language models for stuff like that, is going to start biting people in the ass, because you get this fucking feedback loop where the large language model backed search engine is going to start looking for signifiers that the large language models would be producing in the first place. Which is stupid. But there was a conversation that I had in Suris production line, where I said I need to up my Photoshop game for thumbnails. I went into ChatGPT to test something. It got everything wrong about what I wanted for a thumbnail, obviously, but the vibe is something that I want to recreate. Now, let's talk about a few problems with this thing that was generated by ChatGPT. For one, this is completely unusable as a thumbnail, because thumbnails are 1080p things. They are 1920 by 1080. That is their resolution. That is what they are supposed to do. That's what they're supposed to be. And yet instead, this thing right here is a square. Taji, thank you for resubscribing. Says, I did a thing. Ignore this if in a video. The other thing, aside from it not being an actual thumbnail, it being too tall to be a thumbnail, what I asked it to do was generate my character showcasing a Dina Soul Steeper deck. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen Dina Soul Steeper in Magic the Gathering, but this woman, let me go ahead and open this for you. This is Dina Soul Steeper. This is her. Those are leaves. There's no horns. There's none of that. She's also young. Like, she's a student in a college. She is a young character. Very likely in her 20s. I don't remember what her actual canon age is. Her entire thing is she makes potions that taste like tea. That's her thing. All right, cool. What the fuck is this thing? This is the most generic dryad thing I've ever seen. There is no personality in this thing whatsoever. There is nothing here. This character here kind of, sort of, like, looks like my French-made dress model a little bit, but there's a couple problems with that too. Like, the floofs here, on one side, it's a one-piece. On the other side, it's a two-piece floof. Don't know why that's doing that. As for the mouth, I don't know if that's an open mouth or if that's, like, Kim Possible lips. I have no way of knowing. I'll never know. I like that the hands are completely obscured by everything. That way we can't see AI hands. But the scariest thing about this, aside from all the shit it got wrong, also, why does that dryad druid looking thing have two horns here and then one extra horn here? That doesn't make any goddamn sense. I don't know why that's that way. Anyway, the scariest thing about this image to me isn't that it got a bunch of shit wrong. It's how good it looks. If we are not nitpicking, if we are looking at it at a glance, if we are looking at it purely as a flash-in-the-pan thing on the side of a YouTube thumbnail, that actually looks really good. Which is something that could not have been said about any AI-generated image a year ago. They all looked like horse crap. They all looked like they had 11 toes, like, at birth. And then a doctor sawed off the toe and then, like, grafted more on in a weird fucking experiment. That's what everything looked like before. Now it looks like this. If I were to throw this at a random person out on the internet without pointing out the prompt that led to it and how much shit it got wrong, a lot of people would not be able to tell that it was AI generated. People who are used to pointing out AI generated things would be able to. But at a certain point, that's not going to happen anymore. Most of our hallmarks for pointing out AI generation stopped working a long time ago, and we don't talk enough about how scary that is. It's not just scary. Hi, V-Bridger. Thank you for being there. It's not just scary because, oh, you could make an image and it looks better than another image. It's that AI generation is eventually going to be able to make something. That large language model machine learning generation is eventually going to be able to make stuff that is completely indistinguishable from reality. And these are images that we're not going to have a way to determine if they can be used in court cases. We're not going to be able to tell when these images can be used when we are trying to show that somebody is cheating on you. We're not going to be able to tell what's real and what's not. The camera, once upon a time, was the thing that showed us a window into reality. It is rapidly becoming the case that a picture no longer does that, because there's no way to tell if that thing is real or not. And this shit is only going to get better and better and better, and that should terrify every fucking one of you. Every one of us should be worried about this future. But apparently, instead of doing the safe thing and just recognizing that this is technology that should not be utilized by the populace, instead, we are just going full-fledged into it. And to the point where creators like me even need to use some of those tools in our workflow. As the world dashes into an AI-driven future, Google DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis, I don't know how to pronounce your name, I'm sorry, has a clear message for teens. Learn now or be left behind. Hassabis leads Google DeepMind, the advanced research lab behind the company's most high-end AI development. Again, it's not AI, including the Gemini chatbot. The Gemini chatbot, by the way, is the thing that pops up on my fucking phone and tells me that it has an idea for me when I'm just talking about random shit. Bohemian says, I missed the topic, but haven't they been faking photos for years? You're right. People used to have a measure, people needed to use to have a measure of skill to Photoshop a photo and make something that looked halfway passable. You don't have to do that anymore. You just go into ChatGPT and tell it to make one. Bullshit Protection says, aren't there ways to poison the AI-generated images? In theory, but that doesn't work anymore. Darker says, fake photos have been a thing for decades. You're right. They have. And there's always been tells that we've been able to use to figure out if that image is fake. Areas where there's inconsistencies in brush stroking, things like that, that can tell you that something has been photoshopped. The problem is saying, oh, this thing has been happening in some form or another for decades, and it hasn't been a problem yet, doesn't mean it's not going to be a problem in the future. It said, oh, AI, I said AI, Nightshade, and other things exist, but it's an arm race to mitigate it. That's the thing. Like, so AI, I remember when Nightshade was proposed as a thing to add into all of your art pieces so that when it got scraped out, it would end up causing the image generations to get fucked up. And that's really cool and innovative, but the longer that this technology exists, the more ways around Nightshade and other ways of poisoning it are going to be found by industry leaders. Corey Kid says, Nightshade and Glades do try to update to keep up with the algorithm changes and keep beating them out. They're not bad at keeping up, but it's always a race they're lagging in. And it's always going to be a race they're lagging in because you only know how to poison a program because you have the program in front of you to reverse engineer. And the other problem is this shit has become legitimized. Me and Saki were watching Family Guy the other day, and advertisements popped up in the middle of it. And the adverts, I swear to God, half of them are about AI now. They're asking you, how are you going to be integrating AI into your business? Or we'll go to freaking Buffalo Wild Wings and we'll hear that advertisement on the goddamn radio up there. It's insane. And I'm tired of feeling like this is supposed to be our new normal. I'm tired of feeling like I can see the ways that this is getting more and more legitimized, more and more integrated into everyday life, more and more easy to generate problematic shit. I hate seeing that and then having somebody look at me and go, it's not that bad. Yes, the fuck it is. Shut the fuck up. Don't forget all the ads for shit like the porn companion bots. Yeah, that shit's just creepy. Maybe it's because I'm demisexual, but like having a fake robot do things as opposed to like somebody who's actually doing things or a story that somebody's actually written. I don't know. It skeeves me. It skeeves me. Senna says AI mediocrity singularity as AI keeps feeding off AI generated stuff. But here's the thing. If we can point out that AI feeds off of AI generated stuff and that creates a problem, eventually that's a problem that's going to be solved by programmers of large language models. Like, pointing out a problem does not mitigate the issue. It just means that there's a hurdle that's going to be solved by some programmer with nothing better to do. So the lab is also spearheading Google's efforts towards achieving artificial intelligence, a yet unrealized form of AI capable of human-level reasoning. Again, I hate that we say this is a yet unrealized form of AI. That is all AI is.
Artificial General Intelligence, AGI, is a hypothetical form of AI capable of human-level reasoning across a wide range of tasks, essentially functioning.
Google, shut the fuck up.
Of a human mind.
No, shut the fuck up. Stop. Nobody asked you. Not a single person did. Die in a goddamn fire. Break. Every fucking Google CEO should be shot. Fuck. Anyway, said you didn't ask, but it heard. Yeah, that's another thing. When somebody says, like, actually, there's no evidence that your phone is listening to you. Again, shut the fuck up. You're just wrong. You're just incorrect. Speaking on the popular tech podcast Hard Fork, Hasabis encouraged teenagers to dive headfirst into AI, describing it as the defining technological force of their time. Just as the internet shaped millennials and smartphones defined Gen Z, generative AI is the hallmark of Gen Alpha, he said. Over the next 5 to 10 years, I think we're going to find what normally happens with big new technology shifts, which is that some jobs get disrupted. But new, more valuable, usually more interesting jobs get created. Again, that's not always true, and you have to ask yourself, which jobs are being replaced by AI specifically? Because, like, okay, we've seen that jobs of coders have been put on the line by AI because it will make this just immaculate code that can't fucking run. But a CEO will look at that code and say, oh my god, this looks better than the spaghetti you made. It won't run, but I mean, it exists. But it, quote, looks better than the spaghetti. So we see coders' jobs getting ripped out from under them. And then we see that artists' jobs seem to be getting ripped out from under them. Because there are going to be companies that should be hiring an artist for a job, and then you're going to get something like what I generated on ChatGPT. And you know what? I'm going to be honest, I think I know the solution to this. Gwenham says voice actors are next. Yeah, the AI Darth Vader shit? 100% shows me that voice actors are a job that is next on the chopping block. So people steal our art and put it in AI for shits and giggles with no consent. So here's the thing. I'm going to say this right now. If you're an artist and you have made an image and you have put it on the internet, it's already been scraped into an AI model. It's already happened, and that is scary. That's fucking terrifying. That's not okay. But it's already happened. And so, like, this particular article is just glazing AI. It's glazing this, going, AI is challenging the world. Here's how to deal with it. A leading figure in AI innovation warned that while hard skills remain important, many of them are already being performed more efficiently by machines. So, look, here's the real reason this shit pisses me off. Nick Clegg says asking artists for permission would kill the AI industry. If asking artists for permission to use the art that they have created would destroy your industry, then maybe your industry shouldn't exist. Every piece of art that I use in my videos has either been created by hand by an artist that I paid for, or was gifted to me by an artist who is a friend of me or the channel. And that is the way it is going to stay. If you need something generated and you're like, ugh, I just need this artist's piece to generate this thing that my business needs, your business shouldn't exist. It's one thing when you just log into ChatGPT and you use it for some menial shit. It's another thing when you start literally axing the jobs of people around you because of what is, quite frankly, stolen work. Shamira says, it's not feasible to ask for consent, my ass. Yeah, it's a stupid concept. It's a stupid concept. It is just, it is the closest to an evil technology as we can have. The problem is that it's going to be integrated into more and more aspects of everyday life. So here is my suggestion. Here is my suggestion. Hold on, I want to read this thing here. I think the creative community wants to go a step further. They said, quite a lot of voices say you can only train on my content if you ask first. And I have to say that strikes me as somewhat implausible because these systems train on vast amounts of data. I just don't know how you go around asking everyone first. I just don't see how that would work. And by the way, if you did it in Britain and no one else did it, you would basically kill the AI industry in this country overnight. Good! You want to know another way you can kill the AI industry overnight? Well, not overnight, but like just a way you can kill it. I have an idea. Just something for everybody to try. Do you remember when we saw that saying please and thank you to a large language model over the course of several times actually costed companies hundreds of thousands of dollars? I have a suggestion, just a quick one. How many of you are good at writing programs? Hell, actually, let's do this real quick. It's not going to make something that's actually useful, but let's go ChatGPT, and let's say, hey, ChatGPT, write me a program that can type to you indefinitely. I can't spell. Said pay fucking artists explicitly to train your data, you waste of carbon. All right. Can you clarify what you have in mind? A local script that just prints messages continuously? A client that repeatedly sends messages to ChatGPT AI so the route replies endlessly. Number 2. Give me number 2. Warning, this can consume API credits very quickly. Since each iteration is a paid request to the API, if you run this without limits or pauses, you may rack up significant costs. So here is my suggestion. Here is my suggestion. Get some kind of script. It doesn't have to be the one that it generated, but, you know, that would be really poetic if you did. And just make sure you have a machine that has only one job. Write queries to ChatGPT, ideally on a free account. That way, ChatGPT, at least on one of your machines, is constantly having to query and query and query and query and query and query and query. If, say, a few 100,000, maybe even a few million of us were doing this over the course of, say, a few years, how much do you think this would cost the company? Just out of curiosity, how much do you think this would cost a company if we did this? Suggestions for safer use. Set a max loop count. No. No, 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 no. No, no max loop counts here. I would not like a maximum loop count. Thank you, though. I would just like this to constantly spam to you. And, Cybershield says, wouldn't the corpos say we're DDoSing them? How are we DDoSing them? We're not DDoSing them at all. We're not denying any services whatsoever. All we're doing is utilizing their technology as it was intended. Constantly. We are using a program written by their technology to communicate with their technology. If anything, this is entirely in the hands of them. It's their problem, not ours. And if enough of us are doing this, who knows what might happen? Who knows how expensive this could be for an industry that doesn't make enough money to survive and lives entirely off of the back of corporate tech grants? So 2BF, they'd call foul anyways because they don't have a single spine amongst them. Man, it sucks that they're so threatened by something that we can do from the comfort of our own couch. Or that we can do while messing around with a laptop while sitting on the toilet taking a dump. It's so funny that actions like that are so threatening to them. Cybershield says, unrelated, but VTube software do you use? VTube Studio. Anyway, that's my suggestion of what to do. Fuck this entire industry over. You know, until they figure out that we're doing that, and then they start fighting against that. But that's just more time they had to spend figuring that shit out. That's their problem, not ours. That said, let me know what you think in the comments section below. I appreciate each and every one of you watching, and if you want to subscribe to my channel, do it. As always, insert end of video tagline here. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full-time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Leela Ururaka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.